Kataki spent the next several days working with Master Joshiro in order to construct an effective new weapon. In the end, coming up with an interesting design. Rather than carrying around 3 pistols, Joshiro had the idea of simply swapping out barrels that could be preloaded with shots. The fixture would be quite simple. Just like a master archer who carries multiple quivers, Kataki would be allowed multiple barrels, which would be affixed to him through straps. Attaching them was as simply done as pressing the detached handle into the new barrel slot, and the fixtures were rigged so that they'd easily attach themselves with a single slap, at which point latches would attach themselves, affixing the handle to the new barrel. At which point, after firing, Kataki could simply press a release button that would detach the new barrel, dropping it off and allowing him to attach a new one. With this, Kataki could now cover sections of his body with replacement barrels. In total, he could now carry about a dozen, without affecting his movement. He would still have to recollect and reload all of the barrels that he dispersed during his conflict, in the same way that he would normally reload his previous pistols. But this gave Kataki many more shots than he would normally have, along with Joshiro upgrading the overall firepower. The new barrels were far more hardy than the old ones and could withstand a great deal more force. And with the extremely hefty wooden design now scattered to the wind, the new sleek metal fitting was much easier to wield and took up far less space than the original pistols. Master Joshiro actually found the process extremely exciting, having not been offered the opportunity to truly craft anything new in a great deal of time. And he had multiple other ideas that he wanted to work through. And so, after the process was completed, and Kataki had possession of his new firearm, Master Joshiro told him to pass back through every now and again to see if he had worked anything new up. So, in the end, Kataki paid Master Joshiro a hefty sum for the new design and production of his weapon. After which, Kataki left in high spirits, which was rather unusual for him, as he wasn't, on average, a very pleasant individual. However, with his new weapons in hand, and some money to spare, Kataki left, ready to enjoy the thrills of Tokyo. As he walked the abundant city streets of Tokyo, scanning through all of the countless enjoyments that he could experience while he was here, Kataki eventually found himself a fairly pleasant place to stay for a while. A place known as the White Crane Inn, a fairly well-known establishment within Tokyo, as they were both an inn as well as a bar and brothel. As Kataki entered the building, he was, of course, escorted through the door by an attractive young woman, entering the establishment to find the structure drenched in white tapestries, silk cloths that ran from everywhere, lounge areas filled with men enjoying themselves, surrounded by attractive women, though the men themselves mostly tended to be not much to look at. They enjoyed themselves all the same, smoking tobacco, drinking alcohol, laughing robustly. As Kataki looked around, a warm smile on his face. Yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy staying here for a while, Kataki said, palming at the hefty bag of money that he had collected during his travels. A few weeks here shouldn't break the bank, he said as he looked around, finally seeing another attractive woman approaching him. While most of the women looked very nice, this woman stood on a completely different level, draped in only the most beautiful silk clothing, all a beautiful stainless white. Her makeup, perfection. Her long flowing hair, pinned together in multiple places, with ivory pins, so long it hung nearly to waist level, draped in front of her along with her elegant dress of a white silk kimono. Hello, and welcome to the White Crane Inn. You appear to be a new customer. So, what is your desire? And do you have the money to pay for it? Well, I should certainly hope so, Kaneki said, casting a long look at his new greeter. So, are you on the menu? I really hope so. Sorry, but I am the purveyor of this establishment, the woman replied. So, I'm not on the menu. But there are many other girls who are capable of fulfilling your desires, so long as you have the coin. Here, so long as you have the money, basically any desire can be yours. You bitch! They heard exclaimed from nearby, as the shout draws Kentucky and the purveyor's attention to a small area where it seemed like a rather robust man had, for whatever reason, grasped tight hold of the clothing of a woman nearby. Where the hell is it? Sir, I don't know. I didn't do anything. Don't you lie to me, bitch, he replied, fiercely glaring at the woman in his grasp as he stood up, holding her firm with but a single hand. Where's my money? You're nothing but a den of thieves. Draw a man in with a good time, and then take his hard-earned cash. This place should be called the White Serpent, 'cause that's all you are, snakes in the grass, aren't you? Little fucking thieves, he exclaimed as he shook the woman violently, throwing her to the ground in front of him, and beginning to draw the blade from his side. Now I'm gonna give you one last chance. Where's my money? You're the only one who's been anywhere near me, so you're the only one who could have it. Where is it? He exclaimed as he pointed the blade down to her. The purveyor of the establishment, grit her teeth. It looked as if she was about to make her way over, before she was surprised to see Kaneki pass her by without a moment's hesitation, simply waltzing over in that direction, taking calm, slow steps that way. Hey, buddy, Kaneki exclaimed, looking to the man, holding his sword out towards the woman upon the ground. I enjoy a good time as much as the next guy, and I know money's an important thing, so it's kinda depressing when it comes up missing, ain't it? But that's no reason for this sort of behavior. I mean, if you really expected that she had your money, she's a woman of pleasure after all. If you've already paid for services, getting her clothes off to check her wouldn't exactly be a hard task. Quite frankly, I'm thinking that you're just sort of an idiot. What the hell did you say to me? He said as he raised his sword away from the woman, now pointing it towards Kaneki. Well, did you not hear me? Do you have hearing trouble? I said you're an idiot. It's a very simple concept, but if you are as stupid as you look, I could understand if you can't exactly comprehend it. You little prick! Who the hell do you think you're talking to? I'm one of the prestigious guards for a royal envoy. I've been trained to kill by the best swordsman in the land. I'm a master of the Ikori-style swordsmanship, able to cleave men in half with this blade. The strongest strikes of any blade style. We cut right through steel. If you're trying to pick a fight, you're only digging your own grave. This is between me and the woman. If you value your life, you'll stay the hell out of it. Or maybe it's just that you want to die. Is that it? He exclaimed, pointing the blade at Kantaki. Want to die? Kantaki replied, scratching his chin a bit. No, can't say I want to die. But beating the crap out of a loudmouth ingrate, that seems right up my alley. I'll teach you, you little shit, he exclaimed as he rushed towards Kantaki in a rapid movement. He wasn't lying. His movements were swift. He lunged out with one slash after another, attempting to cleave through Kantaki. But Kantaki easily dodged his blades. One swipe after another, sweeping by, Kantaki dodging as if it were as easy as breathing, until one more sweep lashed out at him. And in the sweeping rapid movement of the blade, Kantaki slipped by, grasping the man by his hands as he held the blade firmly, and in a single stroke, thrusting his knee upwards, shattering the arm he used to hold the blade, while it was still in his grasp, and as he began to reel back in pain, before he could even let out a shout, Kantaki had swept up, with his other hand grasping the back of his head, and in a single downward thrust, pressed his head down, pulling the man off his feet with the sheer amount of force with which he pressed, as his head slammed through the floorboards, cracking them as it broke through, burying his head, as his body went limp, now unmoving, as Kantaki released him, standing back up and, without a single word, simply beginning to walk away before turning around for a moment to look at the woman who had still yet to get up from the ground, simply staring at the events in amazement at the time, and fear as well. "Hey, girlie," he said, looking down to her. "Just a word of advice. I'm not going to say that you did or didn't take this guy's money. Quite frankly, I just don't like the way you responded. But if you did, then a word to the wise. If you're going to be a thief, be a smart thief. If you're going to steal, make sure there are plenty of other people around who could be held responsible. When they can't narrow the line of suspects down to only you, it's much easier to get away with," Kantaki said as he turned back around, going to resume his conversation with the owner of the establishment. "Okay, now that bullshit's behind me, yeah, I have plenty of money. I might have to keep a bit of an eye on it, but I should be able to afford anything. So, for now, how about we start with a room, a meal, and some good sake?" The woman looked at him for a moment with an unusual expression, as if she couldn't quite understand him, before it shifted into a smile. "Yes, that will do quite nicely. Aren't you an interesting one? Perhaps we'll speak again, Mr. Kantaki," he replied, taking a cigarette out and lighting it up. "Just call me Kantaki. I never got one of those last names, but I suppose it doesn't really mean anything. I'm not trying to impress anyone." "Well, last name or not, I think you're more than impressive," the woman said with a smile.